Hidden deep in Portugal lies an abandoned biomedical research facility, forgotten after more than a century of breakthroughs in medicine. Founded in the late 19th century by a Portuguese scientist inspired by Europe's pioneers, this institute once stood at the heart of the nation's fight for public health. When modern labs took its place, the doors were sealed, leaving everything behind. Today, it sits frozen in time, untouched for years, as if the scientists vanished overnight. Our journey across Europe begins here, inside this forgotten research lab, where everything still remains. Let's explore. Everybody, welcome to Portugal. We're going to start by exploring this abandoned biomedical research lab, which was in operation for over 100 years and built back in the 1800s. So this place is decently ancient, and there's so much here to check out. I mean, right off the bat, just these lights, that's the first thing I notice. These things are whack, so old. And then the calendar, dating back from 2003 to 4, so we can guess that this place has been abandoned for about 20 years. The rest of this room is pretty empty, so we're gonna walk into this room right here, which looks like a laboratory of sorts. Look at the state of decay on this desk. This is wild. Beautiful. Bacterial strips of some sort. And then, yeah, we're just gonna kind of go down the line here and see what else is here to check out. There's a lot of ornate details in this place. Again, it's like 200 years old at this point, end to end, so this place is pretty incredible. And this is just the start. All right, we're gonna come out of here and check out this room across from us. Look at these cabinets. The design on these are insane. Let's push into here. I'm gonna assume another lab, and we have a microscope right off the bat. This thing's incredible. Guys, check this out. All we have to do is just continue to turn the corner, and we see more and more stuff. Look at these developed slides. I don't think we'll be able to see this or read it because it's not in English. But this is so sick. There's just dozens of these here. And if I come on over here, we have the actual glass slides for them. So cool that all this stuff is just left behind like this. Let's go step into the main hallway and get our first real glimpse at that. This place is beautiful. I mean, look at that. Just gorgeous. We're gonna go to our right and check out what's in these rooms. And wow, there's just an incredible amount of stuff left in here. And definitely no shortage of chairs, so that won't be a problem for this episode. Even though we're international, we still have the chair of the episode. That will never change. All right, guys, let's push into this room here real quick. Check this out. There's so much stuff left in here. It's hard to even know where to start. Please feel free to drop in the comments anything that you recognize here or may know what it is, because there's a lot of stuff that I've never seen before. This almost looks like a light board where they would have put x-rays or something. I'm sure it had more of a chemical reasoning behind it, but that's kind of what this looks like. There's all these wooden drawers just stuffed in the corner over here. Almost like they started taking this room apart and then just decided to leave it as is. All right, we're gonna push out of this room and go across from us. And I'm not gonna lie, I think this is gonna be the coolest room in the whole place. Welcome to the autopsy room. Look at these slabs. They look like they made out of straight granite or stone. I think granite. And based off how these are looking and the size of them, Guys, I think that this was a medical research lab for animals, not humans. Not only are these slabs too small to put a real body on, but we also know there's no morgue coolers here, which means they weren't storing bodies. I really don't think this was for humans. Guys, pulling off the autopsy table really quick. The first thing we notice is Warden Wanders is in the room with us. He's here after a 15-hour journey. That took him longer than 15 hours.
It took me much longer than 15 hours.
But he's here, and one of the first things that we noticed about this biomedical research lab is in this autopsy room, there's this viewing section, presumably for what was students at the time, and then this door. And I don't know if there's a ladder or something to get up to that, because we're not gonna climb that. We're gonna try to find a different way around and see if there's anything else up there. I'm gonna show you guys way more as we're going along. But Warden found a specimen, and he's gonna tell us about it.
It's a preserved specimen. You can tell by the way that it's preserved, and by the way that right here you can tell it's a specimen. So,
how long do you think it's been here for?
at least 2 or 3.
It's a good guess. Guys, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure this was a blood spinner. They may have had other chemicals or drugs that they could have put in here to spin and combine, but based off of what I've seen inside of autopsy rooms before, I think that's what this is. Guys, there's just so much stuff to see in this place. If I pan the camera over here, we have these cabinets which are just full of substances, preserved elements. Like, what is that, rock, bone? Is there any way to tell? And if I come over here, more test tubes. Look at this. That's insane. Across from me is the bacterial analysis table with a whole bunch of stuff on it. Microscopes. What is this? A timer of some sorts? And then this sign is just special. This whole table is really cool. Test tubes with preserved elements in it. Just empty vials. This place is absolutely nuts. Guys, as cool as this autopsy lab is, it is time to move on to the next portion of this research lab, because there's quite a bit more to see, and it's all just stuffed into 2 floors basically. So we're gonna go down this hallway. We're gonna go to our left and go check out what's in this room. At first, I thought that there's an autopsy table in here, but as I get closer, it looks less and less like one. Unless the head would have just rested in this sink, which I don't think is very practical. And I'm pretty sure, again, that this was for animals, not humans. There's no more coolers here or anything. Hello, good sir.
Hello.
Guys, we're gonna go ahead and push into the next room now, which I believe is through here, so tight fit. See how we can do. Look at this. Another lab. This room's cool. This is different from anything that we've seen so far. Interesting. I wonder what these little containers were for. Again, if anyone knows, feel free to drop that in the comments. Let's go into here. It looks like a little office. Look at this thing. Is this an old typewriter? I think it is. That's insane. That's so old. I've explored a couple biomedical labs before, none like this one. Walter Reed was decently close to this, but it didn't have half of the stuff in here that this one does. It just had a whole bunch of empty cabinets. But this place is just insane. Absolutely out of this world. All right, let's pull out of here, pan the camera, and go check out this bathroom. I'm not usually one that likes to explore abandoned bathrooms and film them. They're usually pretty gross and empty, but the tiling in here is absolutely beautiful. And so I feel like it's worth highlighting, even though it's pretty gross in here. That hallway is so beautiful. We're gonna go right and continue on here because there's quite a bit left to see, and I have a short period of time to finish this video up. This looks like an office slash a lab, but look at all this stuff. All these preserved elements. Like, this is crazy. What a find. All I had to do was just turn around, and there's even more stuff in this corner. Look at all these vials. Some of them still have stuff left inside of it, like this one. They look like metal beads. Again, I've said it once or twice, but there's just so many ornate details in this place that we could pick out. It's really hard to know what to focus on, but it's definitely delivering, that's for sure. Let's continue on down the hallway here. Wow. Look at that front entrance. That's nuts. Let's go into our right here, and wow. This is definitely a lab. More of these lights in the corner. I can't get over those. But just look how much stuff is left in here. Again, I'll say it for the 5th time. Where are you supposed to start? We have another blood spinner here. This one's much bigger than the other one, so I wonder if that was just for other substances, but this one was definitely for blood. This lab is so sick. And just wait until you guys see what's down there. That is the gold. But before we do that, I'm gonna turn to the left and just show you this little storage area. It's very dark in here, so hopefully I don't need my light. I am using my new camera, and this is one of the first videos I'm shooting on it. And what better way to practice shooting your first video on a new camera than in another country when you have to get it right for the first time? Something I would do. All right, we're gonna go push into the main laboratory here, and this room is insane. We came in here last night just to find a way in, and we couldn't really make out any of the details, but now that I'm standing here, I am quite literally awestruck by what I'm looking at. I mean, first of all, these microscopes are in such good condition. They're, yeah, a little dusty. You can tell they've been here for a while, but that's just insane. There's tons of them here, and they're all different. So I wonder what purposes each of these served. It's just insane. And then, of course, in all these vials, we just have all these liquids and substances. Like, who knows what this is and how long it's been there. And there's just tons of things like that. Like, what's this? Uranium Nisom crystals. Like, I feel like that's like not something we should be touching.
Nitrogen crystal.
We found literal uranium.
Uranium.
Could we make an atomic bomb out of this?
Dude, you think we can check this in our bags?
I think so. I think they let us take that on with us.
Yeah.
Guys, Warden and I have been spending a pretty considerable amount of time in this room, and I think there's reason for that. This place is just insane, and every corner delivers a little differently from the last. If we come over on this other side here, we have more microscopes, more test tubes, and more of these bottles with the cotton on the top of it. They look a little funny, but I'm sure they served an actual purpose at one point. Over in this corner, we have these two funny looking machines. I wonder if these mixed substances as well. I doubt this is probably gonna, open. We can't really get in there. So if anyone knows what these did, please let me know, because those just look insane and I really don't know what they did. Guys, we know this is called a fumigator, but we don't really know what it does. We were able to get it open to the point where we can see inside of it, but we're still looking at this one, and I don't think this is gonna lift up. Yeah, no, that's locked. Do you have any idea what these are?
No.
Like, I've never seen these things, ever. And I was saying I've been to a couple biomedical labs before, and this is new to me. Guys, Warden just found a piece of paper that says something very interesting on it that I think we have to highlight. What is this?
It says microbiology, 15 chocolate jelly pieces, blood gellus, 1 can of Sorophysiologic.
No idea what that means.
No clue.
Alright guys, you know that in every single episode I choose a chair of the episode to represent Luke Explorers. And in Europe, in Portugal, that's not going to change. This right here is going to be the chair of the episode. I could have chosen any of these, but I just think that they stand out because they're so old and they don't design anything like this. And you can just imagine people lined up here just working on experiments, which are literally right in front of my eyes. So yeah, this is the official chair of the episode. Everyone say hello. And there's gonna be a lot of these in Europe, so get used to some fun. All right guys, for as cool as that lab is, it's time to move on. We're gonna go head into this room adjacent to that main laboratory. And while this one is much emptier, they do have those lights that I pointed out from a little while ago. I absolutely love those circle lights. I always point those out when I see them. And if I pan the camera over, we have a few more test tubes. This looks like something straight out of a movie. Really just feels like none of this should be here. I'm very curious what this is. If someone wouldn't mind telling me, I'd really appreciate that. It would really help if the words were in English, but they're not, so I have to work with what I'm given, which is not a lot. Let's see if there's anything in here. Well, there definitely is. The question is just how much. I'm gonna actually turn my phone light on for a second, because I think I would really like to see just everything in here. Look at that. So much crap. Thought maybe for a second this could have been a little morgue or an autopsy room, but I don't think so. It's kind of disappointing that there isn't an actual morgue cooler here, considering how many autopsy tables there are.
This is your tool cleaning. Your sanitation shit.
That looks insane. They just don't build things like this anymore. Nothing looks like this. Like, this is over 200 years old, guys.
Seriously.
The time has finally come to head upstairs. I've spent a considerable amount of time, and I say that lightly because I've been on this main floor for like 2 hours, and it's really not that big. But it's finally time to head up. Go up this grand staircase, and I saw it before. Look how beautiful this is. Again, when we came up earlier, we couldn't see any of this. Like, that stained glass, totally popping. It's beautiful in here. Annibal Bentoncourt, 1866 to 1930. That looks crazy. We didn't see that coming in last night either. All right, let's go check out this top floor. We'll start in this corner and in this room. Look at those those curtains. Beautiful. Right across the way looks to be, I was gonna say an office, but looks more like a storage room of sorts. They have a whole bunch of monitors and TVs on the ground in here. But there's no defining features to really tell what this was. It could have just been an office space, I guess, if you think about it. I mean, you would find all this stuff in a normal office, so I don't feel like that's too far-fetched. Wow. Guys, look at this room. It's so ornate. That chandelier is gorgeous, and look at the woodwork on the ceiling. You just don't see anything like that in the States. Let's push into this room, and this was definitely an office. This is beautiful. Again, the woodwork is just stunning. It's in such great shape. It's quite dusty. This desk is really cool. Look at these miniature flags just chilling on top. Look at that. Dude, this is nuts. Guys, Warden is gonna show us the last few things up here so we can get out of here before we get kicked out of our hostel and can't shower. Warden just showed up uninvited to the hostel last night and slept on the ground. So we had 5 guys sleeping in a tiny room. Holy shit. Oh my God. This is insane. I completely forgot that this laboratory was even here. Look how much stuff is left on the tables. There's just dozens of microscopes. They're all very similar, so I don't feel like we really need to go table by table and check them all out. But like, this is insane. Like, this is absolutely out of this world. If I just pan the camera back over from where I walked from, I mean, look at that. That's so cool. Let's go walk to the far corner and see what else we can see here. There's just so much stuff. It's really hard to tell, again, what to focus on. But when you have something like this in front of you, I think we know what the gold is. Just incredible. Individually, I think that this is one of the coolest places I've ever been. Back in this corner, we have all these wooden cabinets and drawers. I didn't see any of these because I was faced the other way. But look how insane those are. And this, again, almost resembles an autopsy table as such, but this was probably just for sterilizing and cleaning things off. But again, I'll just turn the camera and just pan this way. Look how insane that looks. Once again, I could spend hours in this lab, but we have to keep going. We are on a bit of a time constraint, as I already mentioned. So let's go see what else is in this laboratory. I think that this is probably just gonna go straight back into that main lab, and it's locked in the first place. But if I just kind of pan the camera over, we're gonna see there's actually another level, and I didn't even realize that. And then B, we have another circular light. All right, Warden said that the classroom should be off to our left-hand side, and he is correct. I can already see the chalkboard, and I'm gonna pan in a second. You guys are gonna absolutely love this. Look at this. Unreal. Everything from the design on the actual chairs themselves is just so ornate. This is so beautiful. What's this little room? Nothing special, huh?
It's the Fisher Scientific Room.
Dude,
That's my favorite room. Oh my God.
I know that.
We can learn how all this stuff works.
You're actually kind of right.
Dude, we just gotta translate it. Looks like a ventilator. No, it's a Source Luminary furled 20 watt. This is a Momentor LS Numeric. And then we have a Prevalente Modubal. And yeah, I'm just making this stuff up at this point. Last but not least, we are gonna go head up to this top floor and just make sure that Sean was right, that there's nothing really up here. I trust his judgment, but we're never gonna come back here and may not even be back in this country, so we have to check everything out. Look at that skylight, covered in mold. There really isn't anything up here, just storage. So we're gonna do one quick look here and then go head down and get out of here because we have so many places to go explore. It's gonna be a crazy trip, guys. I hope you guys are excited as I am. All right, guys, we're gonna go ahead and get out of here now. This has been a crazy start to our trip. I don't think we're gonna see anything like this going forward, maybe even ever. So this is a real treat. Again, this place was built over like 200 years ago at this point, and it survived an earthquake, I'm pretty sure. So you can just tell that, you know, there's a lot of history floating around in here. So we're gonna go ahead and get out of here and go move on to the next spot. I think I'm gonna try to release these periodically as I film them, so you guys can kind of come along with me. So we'll see how that ends up going. But I'm looking like a blueberry, my blue tank top, blue shorts, but we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna get out of here. Thanks for watching, and I will talk to you guys very soon. Peace out, let's explore.